Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. With me today is Troy Brittingham.
And you're Jeff Ackerman, I believe?
Yep, still am. Check the underwear today, still has my name on it. And we saw episode 4 of Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney+. And
Do you think that he has his name on his underwear?
You know, I think... Intro song. We'll just let that go in the background. I think Kenobi doesn't need his name on his underwear because he wears the same brown robe, and he has for like 40 years. So, I'm pretty sure it's the only robe like it in the galaxy.
Alternative question, do you think it says Ben on his underwear so that way he can throw people off in case they ever find his underwear?
They find his underwear, and they're like, you're Obi-Wan, and he's like, nah, see the waistband, it says Ben.
It says actually. Ben, I don't know what you're talking about.
These are not the boxers you're looking for. Is he a boxers guy or is he a tidy whities guy?
I mean, I'd like to say he's a boxers
Ewan McGregor,
guy.
I know you listen to my show. Please write in and let us know if you're a boxers or briefs guy.
Hey, Ewan McGregor, please come on the podcast. Hey,
please.
We'll take you. We'll take you for an episode.
I will fly to Scotland if it makes you feel any better.
Yeah, we'll be there.
I would invest in that to have you on my podcast.
We'll swim.
I can't swim very well, I should say. I can tread water. I can't, like, swim.
That's interesting. I never knew this about you.
Really?
I've known you for, like, 10 years, and I knew more than that, and I haven't known that.
Yeah, I don't...
Interesting.
Yeah, I can't, like, swim.
So
but,
I could easily drown you.
If I'm in deep water, like, I'll tread water long enough to get back to somewhere I can stand on the bottom, but, I don't prefer...
That makes sense. I did know that you are not an open water guy at all.
No, I'm not, and it's mostly because of my thalassophobia or fear of, like, deep ocean shit, but also because I can't, like, swim in deep water.
So did this episode do anything for that fear?
It's not great. Anyway, oceans suck. So, Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't suck. Speaking of oceans, the what is it called? Palace Inquisitoris or some bullshit
Something like that.
Like it's the dumbest sounding fucking name, but like everything the Empire makes just like sounds dumb and cheesy. Like I think Death Star.
I think Vader's castle is literally just called Vader's castle.
Vader has a castle?
Oh yeah, Mustafar.
I shouldn't be surprised.
Mustafar,
he's got a castle?
Yeah, it's in. I think it's in this series and it's in Rogue One.
No shit.
And I think it's in a bunch of the comics.
You're lying to me.
Yeah, there's just I think it was in this show.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. I think it was in like the first or second episode.
Huh. Okay. Also, did you notice in like interrogation room where Reva had Tala and she was talking to her, there's like lightsabers in the wall.
Yeah, so
tell me about that, Star Wars nerd man.
So I believe that's all the lightsabers of the people and I think is this the same room where they have all the Inquisitors do their big meeting? I
believe so. It looks the same.
I think I saw...
Also, I'm pretty sure it is because they're not going to pay for multiple sets.
Yes. But I believe that and people have shown, like, in the previous scenes where they were on the meeting room, apparently the walls are just lined with all the lightsabers of all the people that they caught. And it really isn't, like, in the foreground, so it's, like, it's hard to tell. And now that this episode is out, where you see sort of the tomb scene...
It makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. Speaking of which, should we do thumbs up, thumbs down?
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Troy?
I'm going to, just for the sake of conflict, say thumbs down, I think.
Thumbs down from me, too.
Ooh, interesting.
I give it a thumbs down, but I'm hesitant to do so. But only because it's like... the things we love are always the things we're harshest on when it comes to criticisms, and Obi-Wan being my favorite guy, once the initial, like, luster came off this show, I'm starting to see that it's rather goofy, while also having a very dark script. So it's this weird, like... towards the end of the episode, when they're escaping from Castle Inquisitoris, or whatever the fuck... Obi-Wan's walking through in literally an oversized military green trench coat with Leia just, like, in the coat, like some awkward tumor growing out of his hip. And he's just wearing a captain's hat as if that's an actual disguise. Like, no.
You see, that stuff doesn't necessarily bother me. At the end of the day, it is still Star Wars stuff, and that I think that the tone plus Star Wars.
But he's Obi-Wan at this point,
Sure.
especially in the Inquisitor's fortress. His face has to be everywhere. How are you all glancing at this guy and not seeing his face and making the connection, and also not seeing him clearly holding a small child under a trench coat, and you know that you're looking out for an old man and a small child? Use your fucking head, dude.
Yeah, overall, I think that there's cool stuff in this episode. I like the series as a whole. Maybe I like Mandalorian a lot.
Mando, I think I'm gonna put higher than this just because Mando was a completely original story.
Yeah, it's hard. It's
real
tough.
hard, right?
But I think I like Mando more. But
Mando also delves into all the lore we never really got any hard evidence on of
Sure.
the Mandalorians and Mandalore and Beskar and all this fun, awesome shit that they introduced in the movies but didn't elaborate on.
I mean, there's a bunch of that in Clone Wars, but it's and a little bit in Rebels, but for the most part, there is a lot of still new information in it.
Right. They mostly talk about Bo-Katan trying. She's on her quest to be Queen of Mandalore or some shit.
Mm.
Yeah.
But whatchamacallit?
Do you think she's gonna be Queen of Mandalore, or do you think Din Djarin is gonna get in the way? Or is he gonna say, "Fuck it, here you go. Here's my Beskar. I'm just gonna go pal around at the beach with Grogu all day."
So my two thoughts on that, and we got to get back to Obi-Wan because we're on a time crunch. But my two thoughts on that are, I think that Bo-Katan's a little bit too much. I like the character. I'm not saying this is a bad thing against the character, but she's written this way. I think she's a little bit too much of a fuck up at this point to rule Mandalore. She's had a comedy of errors throughout the years. She's a terrorist first, and then she ends up leading the group that actually destroys Mandalore, and then she comes back, and then she fails again.
Shit.
She's just a comedy of failure across the thing.
So maybe she has a redemption arc or some deep personal character development where she's I should not rule Mandalore.
That's more what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that she's just I'm not good at this. I probably shouldn't be the one in charge.
I'm real bad at this. You know what, Din? You keep that darksaber.
But I don't think that Din gets it either because I feel like he kind of doesn't have that much of a connection to it. He's not he doesn't not care. But I'm
sure.
I feel like I would like to see maybe Sabine Wren come back in and do it. She's a character from Rebels who's a Mando.
I've heard.
And she had the darksaber at one point.
Yeah, maybe.
And she gave it to Bo-Katan. And then in a few months, Mandalore got nuked. So bad call, Sabine. And she's going to be she's almost definitely going to be in the Ahsoka show.
Oh, I think her role was cast. I think that it was announced or something.
Yeah, I think that they have a bunch of the Rebel characters, and if she's not in it, it will be crazy. She's probably, if everybody but her was in it, it would be crazy.
Absolutely. Sabine Wren.
She's probably the most important for that show.
Natasha Liu Bordizzo to play Sabine Wren in Disney Plus series.
So. Are you sure? I think that's maybe who they got. I think, is that the girl from Mando? Because that's not her.
No.
Okay.
No, that's not her. Because it's a picture of her next to Sabine Wren from the Clone Wars series. So she looks a lot like her. So probably good casting. Anyway, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Let's...
Yeah, but my thoughts on this episode was I think that it has some good stuff in it. It has some cool scenes all across. I think it's the weakest of the episodes.
Yeah, but the middle episode usually is in any series, especially a limited series.
And it's also coming off of 3, which is kind of universally the best one so far.
It had that fucking midnight lightsaber duel in the desert where Obi-Wan got his body burnt.
And I think that with the other episodes, there was goofiness, and everybody understood there was goofiness with the chase scenes and everything.
Yeah.
But
I feel like those scenes should have had I don't know, Jon Favreau come out with a sign, be like, "Listen, guys, we know this is the dark show, but please excuse this for a second. Just suspension of disbelief for just 2 minutes. Pretend that Leia is Sonic the Hedgehog or something, and she can actually do this." And scene.
You see, but that's also the forgiveness I kind of give this episode too. Where, and I give it less because I think that the episode itself is a little bit less than the other ones, where I can forgive it a little bit more, and there's not a ton of it.
I give it a lot less just for the fucking incompetence of every trooper in the entire Empire.
Sure, but I don't know, that's just, and this is just me giving forgiveness to Star Wars in general, is it's just a very Star Wars thing to do that, which take your leave, I guess. But
yeah, every time I've seen like a serious or darker version of this of Star Wars, the troopers are always a lot more lethal and competent. And it feels like you're trying to do that route, but also not make them lethal and competent.
Well, they always do the thing. I was talking about this as the episode was going, that like there's like 9 scenes in Rebels where they disguise themselves as stormtroopers and go
they just infiltrate all sorts of Empire bases.
And they're clearly like, this is when there's like only a few rebels, and they're like, you'd be like, well, you know, Kanan Jarrus, he's the one with the lightsaber. He's like the one Jedi that they know of.
Aside from Kenobi, come on.
Yeah. But that's after this show, so maybe they think he's dead, or they think that he's just gone.
He's retired. He's actually on the PGA Tour this year.
Oh,
he's right after Woods.
Interesting.
And right before Rory McIlroy. And that's the extent of golfer names I know.
Don't worry. The rest of them are going to get... There's a whole controversy right now. They're all going to go golf for Saudi Arabia, which is a whole fucking weird thing right now. I can't get into it. I'll tell you after the pod.
Is this like when the WWE was going to have like their like SmackDown in Saudi Arabia, and then like every fan in the country was like, fuck you for kowtowing to Saudi Arabia or some shit?
It's sort of like that right now. Everybody's
it's so gross.
There's a lot of people where they're just like, hey, you know that they like kill reporters, right? And then at the same time they're like, Saudi Arabia is like, hey, you know, like the PGA Tour sucks too, right? And there's like these two bad guys feuding back and forth. But interesting thing. Golf is the one that for some reason things are happening in, but we're not talking about golf. We can't talk about golf again.
Dee's not here. We can't talk about golf.
He'll yell at us for talking about golf again
and getting everything wrong.
But
I totally got that hole in one with my putter. I just like smashed the birdie right off of the stick in the ground, and it just went straight in the hole, man.
We gotta talk about Kenobi.
Anyway, Kenobi. There was a lot of really good scenes. The fight choreography feels really clunky in this show.
It's on and off. I thought that there's scenes in this episode that looked good and scenes that didn't. Also,
they're like fucking the scene where he comes in to save Leia from the torture chair, and it's just completely dark, and then the lightsaber ignites, and the stormtrooper gets cut down, and then he goes to the other side, and the other stormtrooper gets cut down.
So
that was cool.
Interesting thing about that. We later on in this episode, there's the very Fallen Order-esque scene where he holds back the water in the coming from the glass, which is almost exactly what happens in that game. Also, in this scene, that is almost shot for shot a trailer for I want to say which is the second Force Unleashed game. It might have been the first one.
Force Unleashed 2?
I think it was Force Unleashed 1 that the trailer's for. But there's like a very, very similar trailer where this same kind of thing happens. And it's interesting. Like they're kind of, I don't know if they're stealing or homaging or just like it seems beyond coincidence that they would do this type of stuff. And I'm wondering if it was just people who played the games or what.
It looks similar. I'm looking at picture stills on like Google Images, and some of this stuff looks similar to what Obi-Wan just did. It's got to be like Easter eggs for us, right?
It's
like,
got to be somebody who played the game and was just like
at this point, like the people making these properties for Disney Plus are people that grew up with Force Unleashed and grew up with the prequels and stuff, and that's why we have so many Easter eggs and memes. I think is because these people are people. So I also really enjoy. Nothing makes me happier than when fans of a property take on that property and make something for it. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world. There was a Tomb Raider remake a couple years ago, and one of the guys in charge like grew up playing the originals, and he put his heart and soul behind that game, and it was like the highest rated Tomb Raider in years. So like I love when shit like that happens. It always makes me warm and fuzzy inside. And seeing it happen with Obi-Wan is fucking incredible, because I know Deborah Chow is a huge Star Wars fan personally. Not personally, we're not friends, but like in her personal life. She's
when you and her go golfing.
When we go golfing in Saudi Arabia. Also, it's like super hot out in Saudi Arabia.
Well, the tour is funded by them. I don't think that the golf courses are there.
Okay, I thought they were physically golfing in the Saudi Arabian Peninsula.
I think it's like
I can't think of a worse place to play golf except like the surface of the sun.
No, I think it's like the PGA Tour where they go to different countries and play golf.
Okay,
they go to existing big name golf courses.
Arnold Palmer, the other golfer I know.
Well,
but he's dead.
He is not playing for Saudi Arabia.
He will not play for Saudi Arabia.
I want to say it's like the LIV or Live League or something like that. It's look it up afterwards.
Yeah, that's not. It's not
we don't need to do this on the pod.
No. But like, so and there are some scenes in Obi-Wan Kenobi that are really, really good. The lightsaber scene in the interrogation room was great, and then like him sneaking through the Inquisitorius castle thing, that was pretty cool. But like, any time there's like an amount of enemies versus Obi-Wan, I feel like Obi-Wan is very much on his back foot. He's very much not great at what he's doing. And fine, he's been out of practice for 10 plus years. And the last time he did anything with his lightsaber, he had to almost murder his closest friend in the world. So like, I get it. There's some baggage there. But at the same time, you're Obi-Wan fucking Kenobi. Do something cool. Like, don't just stand there awkwardly in a hallway flailing your lightsaber around, deflecting bullets that just, like, are perfectly... It felt like two troopers on one end of a hallway and the droid on the other side. He should have been at least detained. Like, he especially the way he was acting. And then he gets cornered in a hallway with a bunch of troopers, and that's when the water shit happens, and I'm just like, all right, this feels weird. I feel like your combat needs to take a step up here, Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus. Take my criticisms as an armchair director here. Funny enough, my chair doesn't have arms, but you get the point.
It's funny because I've seen this twice now. I just watched it with you, and it was the first time I watched it, I thought that the hallway scenes were kind of cool, and like now I am sort of seeing some of the rust on them. And it's weird because I would have to watch the other episodes again, but like the fight when he gets off of the Frex convoy ship or whatever, or the little land speeder or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And he fights all those guys and he chops the one dude in half with the laser grid.
Yep.
Like that scene seemed better. Like,
yes.
Pretty significantly.
I will
as far as I remember.
That. Yes. And then like this at the end of this scene when they're running away towards the Hoth speeders to like escape from Inquisitorius, they're surrounded completely, front, back, sides, when the speeders show up and like kill a bunch of people, cause a distraction. And he and Tala are just shooting people with their little blaster pistols left and right, not taking a single shot themselves. And
I also...
It's a little too much.
Well,
armor.
That's another thing that Mando gets a lot around where he has just like bulletproof impenetrable armor.
Mando gets around it by literally being encased in bulletproof armor.
Yeah, he doesn't have plot armor. He has plot armor.
He literally has plot armor, and in his religion, he's not supposed to take it off. That's awesome. Great. I'm glad you guys found a way to make combat interesting while also not having real stakes. However, Obi-Wan doesn't have that luxury. Mm-hmm. He's an old man in a fucking bathrobe running around this Inquisitorius castle, and you're telling me not a single stormtrooper in that fucking hangar got a shot on him at all?
Also, the T-47s, the airspeeders.
Yes, T-47 airspeeders.
They don't...
The Hoth speeders, as everyone fucking knows them.
They don't look great in this, I thought.
They don't look super great, and also, if memory serves, there's no way a single speeder picked up two adults and a child. There's physically not enough room in that cockpit.
Yeah, unless they don't have a gunner seat, because, I
don't even know if that would be enough.
No, actually, okay, so this actually, I'm thinking back to the episode now, they do say that these ones aren't, like, military vessels. I think that I would assume that they're probably like repurposed later because they say that they're used to carry
for hauling salvage and garbage.
Yeah, so like I assume there's probably like some room in these ones just based off what they say earlier.
Okay. Maybe.
Yeah, because if they don't have a gunner seat for Dak to get blasted in the face with in the beginning of Empire, then they might be at room.
Yeah.
That was me showing off that I know the gunner in
Empire. You know everyone's fucking name in the original trilogy. Congratulations. I remember being a child in high school, and you knew all the bounty hunters in a row in episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a trivia question for some bullshit.
Yeah,
it was
I
like,
found it.
Name all the bounty hunters from left to right, and you were like, easy.
Yeah, can I do it now? I want to say it's IG-88, Boba Fett.
Where's Bosk?
I think it's Bosk is next, and then I want to say, no, it's the other way around. It's Dengar's behind on the very far left, I think, because he's way in the background because Dengar's boring.
Dengar is super boring. I
Dengar-
literally didn't know his name until the Lego games came out.
Dengar's just like a guy like wearing like a blanket. It's like really strange.
Let's see if you got it. It's oh no, you're off.
Am I off?
By a bit. It's
I used to know this.
I think it's Dengar, IG-88, Boba Fett, Bosk.
No, that's what I said. Those are the 4 that I.
Yeah, Boba Fett's the third one. You said he was the second one with IG-88.
I corrected. I put
okay.
Dengar
and then
in the
there's
back.
2 more on the far right. I don't
Yeah,
even
that's 4 Lam and Zuckuss.
Sure. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, that wasn't in the question that I found originally.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Anyway, Kenobi was all right. He saves Leia from Castle Inquisitorius. I think I've given it a different name every time I've said it. I'm just going to run with that joke. The Inquisitor's Fortress, I love entirely.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so worried for the time in the universe when Disney decides to nuke it. Because there are no Inquisitors,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no Inquisitor base in New Hope. So somewhere between fucking Kenobi, Rebels, something, that base gets destroyed. And I'm really... Wait, does it?
We don't know if it gets destroyed, but I mean,
Abandoned.
at a certain point, there's no Inquisitors.
Right. Actually, is there any post-6 like expanded universe content that has an Inquisitor in it?
No, not yet.
Okay. So the only Inquisitor content is between 3 and 4.
Yeah, unless it's like a book or a comic book or something I don't know about.
Yeah, but those are like the fringes of canon, like bordering on not canon though. But it's very it's very fun to have this awesome new stuff put in. Like Inquisitors are super cool. That fortress is awesome, but at the same time, I know it has an expiration date. I just don't know what it is or how it happens, and that's kind of exciting. But I'm also like a little worried Disney's gonna fuck it up because they fuck up some stuff.
I mean, Star Wars in general is very non-collinear in general. Like, you could have that problem with pretty much anything that's not the original trilogy.
Does Vader's castle exist?
Yeah.
In like 4, 5, 6?
In 4, 5, 6, I don't think that they ever mention it.
No, they don't.
But
Vader's castle was just an expanded universe thing, as far as I remember.
Yeah, I think it was put in later. But speaking of the Inquisitor base, how did you feel about sort of the tomb in the bottom?
Oh my god, the tomb. We didn't talk about the tomb. Obi-Wan gets to the bottom, and he has this revelation where he realizes all the security was because it's a tomb for all the Jedi they've killed. And they've just, like, preserved them in amber, like Jurassic Park style. And they're just lining these hallways with all the Jedi. And there's a bunch of Jedi he's looking at, and I don't think any of them are people we're supposed to know.
So the very first one he looks at is Tara Sinube, who is a character that I fucking love.
Okay.
He's in a few episodes of Clone Wars, but he has one big episode in Clone Wars where he's just like this kind of old man who helps Ahsoka find her lightsaber. And it's a great episode. And he's just like this cool, like, old man, and you're like, he's kind of like a character where you're like, I don't know why this guy's a Jedi. He's kind of lame. And he has like this he has like a cane, and the lightsaber handle's like in the cane, so he pulls it out and then turns it on. Like, Tara Sinube is cool, and now he's definitely dead. I mean, I knew he was dead, but now it was like I didn't want to see the body.
Yeah.
But
well, in Star Wars, people aren't usually dead unless we see a body.
That's true.
They fucking brought Boba Fett back to life for crying out loud.
But there's a few other characters that people have pointed out here and there. I want to say that one of the characters they did a close-up on may have been the Jedi woman that was training the kids at the beginning of the series.
Oh, you know what? That could be.
And I know for a fact that one of the kids, or the one kid that they showed, that kid is actually in that scene.
Okay. Also, so I'm reading about the tomb scene in the background here. So apparently in Rebels, in like season 1.
Oh yeah, Luminara Unduli.
Kanan and Ezra are trying to rescue Unduli, and they get there and they see a hologram of her final moments before she walks into an upright coffin.
Mm-hmm.
And then the hologram stops and it reveals the frozen corpse of her.
Yep.
And it also the Grand Inquisitor shows up, who says that
that's his
her
first
bones
ever
continue
appearance
to serve the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fucking creepy.
Yep, that's the Rebels episode where everybody's like, "Oh, this is kind of like a little kid show," and then a woman walks into her own tomb where they're broadcasting a signal to trap Jedi and kill them, and you're just like, "Oh,
yeah,
okay, I guess it's not like only for kids, I guess."
So like, obviously they're doing some experiments on these Jedi bodies. They have to, right? There's no other reason to keep them.
They could do like trophy stuff, but unless they're trying to lean into like force cloning stuff eventually, which I think they kind of are.
Well, I mean, they already maybe. Because like trophies are one thing, and I can see that with like the lightsabers in the Inquisitor meeting room, but this is the corpse.
Yes,
there's no reason to
like
keep
perfectly
that.
Preserved.
Exactly, perfectly preserved in amber. Like fucking straight out of Jurassic Park.
Another one, just for sake of bringing it up, the very first person on the left side of the hallway, a lot of people were saying that kind of looks like Quinlan Vos, and it does. But at the same time, I don't think that they would bring him up and then have him in there and then not have a scene of Obi-Wan like looking at him.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it would seem a little weird to just kill him off like that and not focus on it.
Yeah, there's no way. But you said Kosane, right?
I did not. I was talking about
apparently Kosane is in there.
Kosane
with white braids on either side of their face. Oh, Kosane is the alien species. It's believed to be Kenobi.
Oh yeah, no, that is Terra Snootbag.
Yeah. I fucking. Dude, man, why are they keeping the bodies, Troy? Why are they keeping the bodies, Troy? What's in the box, Troy?
Dead Jedi.
Dead Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh, is she a Jedi?
That would have been a funny Easter egg. Oh, if this was like an SNL skit, they would have had Gwyneth Paltrow's head.
I mean, it's not a box though.
No, I know. And then the fucking youngling, man. That was fucking heartbreaking. Oh my god, the younglings. Oh, okay.
What was that?
I don't know. I'm just making noises. Yeah, the tomb scene was real fucking awesome in a terrible way.
Mm.
But it was really really cool. What else happened in this episode that you want to talk about, buddy?
There was Reva interrogation stuff with Leia. And I'm getting the vibe from the second one that she kind of doesn't want to hurt her.
Maybe.
In like a weird way. Like I didn't get it the first time I watched it, but the second time she's like really hesitant, and she like yells at her first before she starts torturing her, and I'm like, you seem to like really fuck up a lot of people. Like you seem, and also she didn't kill Kumail.
She did not. So the leading theory is that she's gonna be redeemed and have like the turn good side arc, all that shit. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I think that she sees a bit of herself in Leia.
Yeah.
Because I have to assume Reva was taken as a child before she became an Inquisitor.
I have seen a theory.
A game theory. That's all. No, I'm kidding.
We're rolling credits. No, but there's an episode of Rebels where there's a young character. Ezra sneaks into a.
Ezra Miller? He's back?
No.
Oh, man.
No. Ezra Miller is very much not back. There's some things coming out about it keeps getting worse.
Apparently, WB is in too deep with the Flash. They haven't recast him, and they say there's no plans to.
No, it's not looking good.
Oh, no.
It is no longer beating up people in bars. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, no.
It's getting pretty bad.
Flash? He's turning into Flash Gordon. Because he was the bully in Spider-Man.
No, that's Flash Thompson. Flash Gordon is the savior of the universe.
Wait.
and the quarterback of the New York Jets.
I messed up. Continue.
But whatchamacallit, Ezra Bridger.
Ezra Bridger, okay.
Sneaks in.
Not related to Phoebe Bridgers.
Not religious. Not religious to Phoebe Bridgers. What I was about to say. Not related. But he sneaks in, and there's a bunch of stormtrooper cadets, and he basically tries to get a bunch of information, and one of the stormtrooper cadets is a young black kid. And he talks about how his sister was taken by the Inquisitors, and
you think he might be related to Reva?
Well, they literally say in that episode that he thinks that she has Force powers. I think there's a book or something like that I heard of, because I was looking this stuff up after I heard the theory, where they were saying that the sister has a name and was saved eventually, but she was getting tortured by the Inquisitor's dead at this point in the canon, but she's getting tortured by him, in a tower or whatever. So, and then he breaks her out and then does a thing. So there's a sort of a long theory of Reva isn't her real name either. It's Dara, I think her name is. It's her brother, or her sister, or his sister. They're related.
That's all, folks.
I lost all of that in the plot.
So there's this character, this boy in Rebels.
Yes.
And it is believed that he is Reva's brother.
Yes.
And that would be the connection to her to the expanded universe beyond that.
And there's also even theories beyond that, because she's a Force-sensitive black woman, essentially, that possibly within the timeline she could also be related to Finn in some way. So there's
because there can only be one African-American Force-sensitive family in the whole
you know
galaxy.
what I mean. It's just there's two theories really, and I just connected the two.
I don't see Reva surviving Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I don't either, but I think if she does,
then maybe your theory on her being related to Finn holds water. But I don't see her surviving the series, or Tala for that matter.
Sure.
I think every auxiliary character that got introduced that isn't Kenobi or Vader or Leia is gonna die.
You see,
or at least we won't see them again.
But okay, so I had this thought while we were watching this episode again. Would you take a series called The Path or something like that, where it's about
them rescuing all the Jedi? I'd fucking love that.
Yeah, and every episode's a different Jedi coming in and moving from planet to planet.
The question is how much can you do that? How many Jedi are actually out there?
Until you're just they all survived.
Yeah, it's like when they did the Lilo and Stitch TV series, and it's how many experiments are actually out there to do a show about?
Well, he's
and then you remember Stitch is
626,
so you've got 624 guaranteed episodes.
They could just pick one Jedi too. They could do a prequel where it's Quinlan or something.
They could. I'd be okay with The Path, and it's about Tala, and she's trying to rescue Jedi, and then also our co-star is Quinlan Voss or something.
I believe that she that they said that it's not even always Jedi either. So
no, it's just Jedi sympathizers, anybody that might be valuable to the rebellion.
Yeah.
Which is this path the beginning of the rebellion? You think?
There's a lot of different things, and I think they're all going to merge at one point. Also, we got Roken, who is the other guy who's in that sort of thing. He seems like he's running it.
My first guess, before you mentioned the kid with the sister, and before I remember that third sister was kidnapped as a child, because I'm stupid, he said he had a wife who was Force sensitive until the Inquisitors found her, and I was like, oh, is it Reva? It's no, it's not Reva, because she was taken as a child.
Yeah.
It'd be weird if she was a child bride.
Yes.
Very weird.
But hasn't never happened in Star Wars. There's an episode of Clone Wars that's real weird that I don't like. You
remember when Lucas sold LucasArts to Disney and he called them white slavers and then laughed about it?
I do not remember this.
Oh yeah. And people have brought it up to George Lucas since then, and he's like, "Yep, stand by it." And
well, Clone Wars wasn't even them yet. I don't think. I think that was still under him. It's a weird episode where they're trying to stop a child bride marriage thing, but I'm like, why is this in here at all? Star Wars. It's very weird.
Because the galaxy's a cruel place, man.
I guess, but it's weird putting a kids show. I guess I don't know.
Oh, that was a kids show.
It's Clone Wars. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but we have to wrap this up at one point. But I just thought it was interesting that he pointed out that he had a Jedi wife, or at least some sort of Force sensitive wife. And also, right before we get out of here, we got to talk about Wade. Rest in peace, Wade.
Who the fuck is Wade?
He's the other guy who's flying the T-47.
I get that.
Who blew up?
Who the fuck is Wade?
I don't think he's ever been in anything. I don't think he's ever been in a book. I think that he is a guy that was in the first scene of the show and then the last scene of the show, and they made it seem like we should be really, really sad about him.
Yeah, they did.
They really,
I don't
really
care.
They really pushed, and I'm like, I tried to sympathize a little bit of like, oh, well, I mean, these characters have their own story and they knew Wade, so it makes sense that they're sad. But I'm just like, I don't know. It seems
I don't
really
give
weird.
a fuck about Wade. Who the fuck is Wade?
They really made it dramatic, especially since people get fucking blown up in Star Wars all the fucking time.
My guess is that in the beginning, when Obi-Wan was asking them for help, they were very insistent that they are not soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
They're just helpers to help out the Force-sensitive people escape and blah, 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 blah. And then after Wade dies and they come back and the woman is all sad that her co-pilot man is dead or whatever, then Tala has that line, I guess you are soldiers now. And I'm just like, is this like the technical birth of the rebellion?
It could have also been part of the rewrites. Like maybe these characters were something a little bit more.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I don't see Wade being a character that was more.
Maybe
could be wrong.
He was, and they wanted us to get attached so that when he died, we would cry, and then it would be like, oh, here's your dark episode you wanted, you fucking freaks.
Just very, very strange. Very strange. There's a bunch of people on the subreddit who are just like, R.I.P. Wade. He was right behind you.
Yeah. Like, I get it for meme purposes, but, like, I don't fucking care
People
about
are memeing real hard about Wade.
Yeah, unless, like, they do something later where it's like, Obi-Wan, here's Wade's nephew, Wedge Antilles, or some stupid shit like that. And then, like, all right, maybe, but at the same time, I don't care, even if they do.
All right. We're
done. That's it.
We're sort of at the end of our time. The only other thing, Reva leaves a tracker.
Lightsabers are cool. Oh yeah, Lola's the tracker. They're gonna follow Kenobi to the next place, and then they're gonna set up the ending showdown on whatever planet.
My final thoughts are: this has been, in my opinion, the worst episode so far. But if this is the worst episode of the series, I am pretty positive on the series.
Yeah, if this is the worst episode of the series, it still gets at least an A from me. Yeah. Maybe not an A+, but it's still an A. That doesn't negate my problems with combat in this show.
Every Star Wars thing has their problem, and this one definitely suffers from some stuff.
Yeah. But that's it for Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 4. Tune in Monday, when Dee and I discuss The Boys. Maybe Troy will be present. Who knows?
I should be.
Depends on how they're feeling that day. And if they decide to show up. I'm kidding. If you liked what you heard, please leave us a kind review on your favorite podcasting platform. Give us 5 stars, like, subscribe, all that bullshit. And we'll see you next time. Why don't we end the Obi-Wan Kenobi episodes by saying, may the Force be with you?
I mean, you can start doing it right now, I guess.
I'm going to go edit the old episodes and republish them so that it sounds like I've always
Are you
said
still going to have this in here where you say, why don't we use it?
Yeah, it's an Easter egg.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, for the hardcore fans.
What if we pick like a different, like what if we pick like a Jar Jar line?
Like what?
I don't know. That's the end of the episode. I'm not going to give you Jar Jar impression.
No power in here, leaking in there, all sinking and no power? When are you so thinking we so in trouble?
Is that the intro? Is that the outro every episode now?
Yes.